My left arm is heavy today. After the shot, it's just like
That's like the best non sequitur to go live with. My left arm is heavy today. Oh my god, they raise them so soft in Texas. I thought y'all were tough. Like,
well, I mean, I did have to go out to a cattle ranch to get freaking like.
Did you really?
It's an old cattle ranch that they turned into like a stadium event.
I mean, but it's enormous, is what I assumed.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well, kudos to you and kudos to Texas to handing out shots.
It's happening in New York, right? Like you guys are they're signing.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, like it's not everybody, right? It's very very strict list of people who qualify here in Onondaga County. I guess is the best way to put it. First responders, doctors, teachers. I don't qualify. Food supply, fuck them, right? Oh, but grocery workers get it. Grocery workers get it. So
that's good.
That's frontline dudes. Yeah, bring it on.
Everything is a ranch.
Everything is a ranch. Everything has ranch, unless it has barbecue sauce. So welcome to the Mid-Geek Crisis.
Let's kick this episode off.
Yeah. Hello.
Welcome to the Mid-Geek Crisis, episode 112. I am
Yes.
Joe, the Afro Man, and my partner in crime, as always.
Cautious. I'm also cautious online. Low energy today, man. The snow really took it out of me up here in the Northeast.
How much y'all get? What's the?
I mean, like an average Syracuse day, 6 to 7 inches, maybe. I don't know. It came down fast. Is the important part. New York City got a lot more, right? Down south, they got more.
That's a first.
No, I mean, I think once a year they get like a nice snowstorm that's like...
Yeah, they get that big one, and then like you get to watch all the buses slam into other cars, you know.
You get to watch all those New Yorkers play in Central Park snow, right?
Are you telling me it's the one day that they don't get mugged in that, in that park?
New York hasn't been that bad since the 90s.
I know.
Late 90s. Maybe even the aughts. I don't know. I was once coming back from college. I think it was my freshman year back from college, and I caught a ride with my friend's family who were from Oregon, and we're pulling up near my home in the Bronx, and her dad looks out the window and goes, "There's so much trash everywhere." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my building. I'm jumping out here." Thank you, white people, for the ride.
Oh god! It's like, God, thank you for making me feel like I live in squalor.
Thank you.
That's my heap over there. I'm just gonna
exactly right.
Jump right.
Welcome, folks. Thanks for jumping on. Adam, Rolls, Dan, appreciate it.
What's going on?
Dan says, "Ever been to San Francisco?" You know, it's the one major city in California I have not been to. Like, every time I've tried to go in there, I have not been able to pull into San Francisco. So I've only ever seen it in the movies.
I heard that you're not allowed to walk in. They've got like magical borders. If you eat meat, you walk through it.
Oh, come on. I assume they just shake down your pockets to see if you can afford rent now before you get into San Francisco.
That's totally true. San Francisco's the new is kind of the sister city to New York City when it comes down to like rent, right? Like price wise.
The high price sister.
Right. That's what I mean. Not anything else. Yeah,
nothing else. Nothing else. I walk by a homeless man pooping on the sidewalk. You don't have to go to San Francisco for that, Dan.
Have you been to Philly? I just want to point out there.
No. Have you been to an Eagles game?
I'm pretty sure they assign a homeless person every corner to poop. It's part of the part of the fragrance of Philadelphia. Man.
We've got friends in Philly.
We do. So, news today. Senpai Bezos has left his post. What's going on, Kendo? Oh man.
Yeah. So I guess he got tired of the bad rap in running Amazon. I don't know. He's still running Amazon, right? He's still majority shareholder. He's still on the board. It's not like he's yeah.
This particular headline at Kotaku is like a year later after launching a terrible game. It's a way for them to talk about Crucible, I guess, in any way.
It's also a good way to remember him, I think, right? He also launched a bad phone that didn't work out, right? Like, he's not.
I knew one person that bought that, right?
Yeah, we know one person that bought that. And we still tease him about it to this day, right?
I think he still uses it, right?
Oh, he definitely got a new one. And I'm not sure now. Did you mention it?
I honestly, man, I don't. There. So yes, he's stepping off,
moving into the executive chairman position, basically away.
Basically, fail upwards, right? Is that how it works in those positions?
And his like first lieutenant, his capo is taking over, so it's not like he doesn't have direct influence and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I look forward to a future where Lex Luthor, Jeff Bezos, and Lex Luthor, Elon Musk fight over Mars, right?
God,
That's when they both retire.
Get your ass to Mars, soldier.
Exactly. I look forward to watching them duke it out with their billionaire dollars. Like, I imagine them just throwing money at each other. Like,
so. Do you think he like loads a slingshot with silver dollars and drives by? Just
silver, gold dollars,
gold bullion,
with a GameStop stock now. I guess since it's become worthless. No, it hasn't. It hasn't become worthless. Diamond hands, right? Diamond hands. Is that what they say?
Yeah. So it says Jeff is going to be swimming in his vaults of money more frequently now. Yeah, it's all Scrooge McDuck style, you know.
I wish he was that interesting. I wish he would be that interesting.
I saw Starship Troopers 3. It's not gonna go well. It definitely is not. As long as you know. If you're a friend, if you've been watching the show from the very beginning, we are big fans of Starship Troopers, and
hell yeah,
we watched it.
I watched
it very early on in the show. Again, as like a fresh reminder, and man, that movie holds up, and never did that movie feel so real as vivid as the last 4 years, right?
The last propaganda march we've just waded our waves through. I especially like that every so often you watch it again and you discover something new about it that matches your time period. It's so timeless. RoboCop, I thought would be as timeless. Not as timeless.
Only because it set.
It made me homesick for 1980s Bronx, but it wasn't as timeless. A little homesick.
It also makes you think how bad Detroit was back in there in those days. I mean, it's still not a gold standard.
We love you, Detroit. We love you, Detroit. Yes. Would you like to know more? Absolutely.
Would you like to know more? Absolutely. So Bezos has left and moved up and onwards into the stars to be.
Yeah, he says he wants to focus on his paper and blah blah blah.
What can we say? I live in Texas, so we shit on everybody, and everyone shits on us. So, I mean, that's the way it works, right?
What?
It's okay. I know it. We're just better. I mean,
zero time thinking about Texas. Zero time.
We
shit on Texas because of Ted Cruz. You know the truth. We shit on Texas,
and that's okay. Us Texans shit on Texas because of Ted Cruz at the moment. Oh man, that guy. Notice with Idiocracy, the best talk. I agree.
Oh man, we should only be so lucky, right? That'd be good. No, Pergamene Circus is trash. Pete Davidson told me so.
So I had no idea about this. This was on my timeline. I had talked about it. Apparently, does anyone know the skinny on this? Like, so Pete Davidson apparently did
He came here. He filmed a movie. He complained about the cops harassing him and his friend for having drugs in their car. So yeah, I mean,
he had drugs in his car.
So like. He's like, all the cops did was follow me around. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, Pete. Was your life just as hard as a regular person's? Oh, sorry. But, he disparaged Syracuse. And the only people who can shit on Syracuse are the people who live in fucking Syracuse, all right? We will not tolerate anyone outside our borders making fun of us. So we had to bring the hammer down on Pete. And I guess we got mad that he wore a shirt recently. I don't know. It's like the most press Syracuse ever gets outside of college, right?
Hey, they have a sitting president now.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. He graduated from the law school here or the business school.
Yeah,
that's
right. Trash compared to what? Staten Island. So yes, that's exactly right. Apparently, he is very Staten Island. So like, Syracuse, Staten Island, Syracuse.
Yeah, but this is, and I live in Syracuse, so I get to say this. This is because like trash knows trash. Like we're like, hey. We like, we should get along, but we actually don't like each other.
I moved.
I love Syracuse. So much more than Staten Island.
I moved from Austin, Texas, hipster central, San Franciscan Mecca. Everyone from San Francisco moved to Austin from the time that I lived there to when I moved in 2011. I lived there for 10 years. And what I was used to in a small city, considering that I came from Houston, which was one of the bigger cities in the nation. Austin was a small town. It only takes you 30 minutes to get through Austin, from one side to the other. And again,
population. What's the population of Austin? Like 1 million, 1.5 million?
No, it's like
400,000.
Austin, Texas population. Let's do that. Population. Okay, 950,000.
All right.
So it's a smaller city in Texas, considering the population of Houston, which is 2.3 million, right?
Right.
So I moved from Austin.
And like New York City.
Well, right. Yeah. What is the population of New York City nowadays?
It's 9 million last time I checked. It's 19 million commuter. Yeah, it's big.
So I went from Austin, Texas, to Syracuse, New York.
Yeah.
Right. So when I got there, the culture shock was beyond. I mean, I remember driving down the empty streets.
Thank you, Kendo.
Driving down the empty streets, and they're like, "This is the busiest street in Syracuse," and I'm like, "What? Nothing's open." And they're like, "Yeah, well, Syracuse."
Right, because now you're in Syracuse, so you can shit on Syracuse, right? Yeah. No, I'm with you. You're like, nothing's ever open here. It sucks. Just go somewhere else. Here's a bunch of restaurants outside the city limits. But yes, Austin. I mean, it had a lot more money. A lot more development, a different place.
Yeah, but Austin is the worst.
Austin is the worst.
Austin is the worst. I used to love Austin.
Can we all agree that Staten Island's the worst? Can we all agree right now?
I don't know Staten Island, but I mean, I've heard it's pretty bad.
It's the worst.
So what makes it bad?
It's like a
We're doing it.
Just right. Because... Let's talk about something else. I
want to hear real quick, just because for the outsiders, everyone around that watches us are all over the nation. What is Staten Island like? Like what's? I hear it as a pun of a joke constantly. Kind of like we all know that Jersey is made fun of because it smells funny. It's got bad, etc. Although I've been to Jersey and a lot of parts of Jersey are beautiful, except like Newark.
Staten Island is like, yeah, it's a more racist Long Island. It's like you've got 5 buddies. Yeah, it's like the buddy that just like you got 5 friends and one of your friends always sucks. That's Staten Island. They do nothing but complain. They want to be treated differently. They won the lotto by being part of New York City, but they only can complain about it. And they're like the deepest, reddest part of a very liberal area. So they're just not, they're just not. They're not friendly. They're not the Bronx or the Brooklyn. They're not cool. They're your friend who's not cool.
But are they considered like suburbia?
Oh, they're kind of suburbia. I mean, when you look at a map of Staten Island written by people who are from New York City, it's really small. But Staten Island's actually massive. It's a huge island.
Wow, they like demasculate.
Well, because
they emasculate it too. They're like, hey, you're not that big. Get down there.
Everyone who's seen the map of New York City is the subway map, and they shrunk Staten Island really small because it actually has no like big trains on it, so it looks really small. And it's a huge island. It takes a long time to drive across, so it is also much more suburban than the rest of the city if you don't count Queens or big major parts of Brooklyn, all the way up to the partway part of the Bronx. It's just like
what makes Nick.
All right. You're making me homesick.
I know. If you haven't noticed it, the trend here, folks, is you make fun of New York long enough, he gets homesick for it. That goes to show.
I want to sit in my handbar and make fun of Staten Island all day.
I don't get to do that. Oh man. Hopefully my sound is a little louder now. I turned it up. I tuned it a little bit.
Awesome. Yeah, you sound big. Yeah.
Okay. So other bit news. I mean, we're gonna kind of bob and weave through stories today. One of the big ones today that happened is we got the release date for Mass Effect Legendary Edition. So it looks like it's going to be one game that you purchase, and it gives you all three. So they're just calling it the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but it's part 1, 2, and 3, right?
I'm so excited for it.
Let's.
I'm so excited for it. Let's kick off a little video of this Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yeah, man. I'm excited.
And then Pergamene's making fun of me, right? I'm walking here. Hey, come on.
All three of these games will be on my 52 this year.
I think we get the Echo, but you never beat the first one, right?
No.
Pergamene says, "Oh man, so pumped this." Me too.
You were born to do this.
Looks good. I am excited for that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it looks great. Yeah, bruh. Yeah.
Yeah. So, according to BioWare and EA, they are saying that it's not out of the question. What will probably happen is they'll take the versions that were on 360 and kind of get them ready for Switch. I mean, obviously that's what tends to happen, right? Like Skyrim was, when Skyrim was re-released for the new systems, it was like, oh, here's the remasters, but then like Switch will get Skyrim. It'll just because you'll just get the base edition because you can't run 4K obviously on the Switch. So I think that's what's going to happen, but it'll probably be after the fact. Hopefully it will be for a Super Switch or whatever they're going to call it. The rumor, the updated version of it. So
a Super Switch. That's
there's a rumor going around that's the name that they're going to be calling. So
you never beat one, right? Did you play two?
I played two through a friend. I didn't finish one, and the reason I couldn't get through one was because I didn't like the mechanics. The combat system was very different from two.
Right, which I'm excited that they streamlined. Right, this legendary version. It looks like they modernized some aspects of it. It's not just the graphics upgrade, which I was like, graphics upgrade. Will I be willing to play again for a graphics update? That one was hard to replay for me. But some improvements and streamlines on fighting. I guess they fixed the equipment stuff, right? That you're no longer restricted on what gear you can use by what class. It's got some cool like streamlining ideas, and the stupid Mako vehicle has been fixed as well. So I'm excited.
And this is one of the reasons why, I mean, we talk about it a lot on the show. Remakes, remasters, they happen, but sometimes when a remake or remaster is done right, you get those quality of life updates, those things that like, hey, they didn't age very well. Or example is Mass Effect is considered one of those games that kind of pioneered that style of gameplay.
There you go.
When someone pioneers it, they're the first to come out with it to the point where that no one wants to kind of trudge on that. But then other people kind of improve on that, or their subsequent sequels are better. Being able to go back and add some of that stuff to the part one aspect kind of will fix things.
Because at its core, and Pergamene mentions this, right? Combat at ME1 was still adapting background dice rolls for damage. This was a role-playing game with action on top, right?
Right.
While the second and third clearly focused on the action and delivered role-playing. Awesome. Yep. Was just too frustrating for me. Then again, I can't really remember what it was like. Like, are we allowed to talk about spoilers yet?
Yeah, I mean, go for it.
So, like, here's the interesting thing: is there even spoilers in a game where your choices, I mean, do significantly change your shepherd's experience, right? So,
Right.
like if I say I did this, someone could literally never even see that plot line,
Right, but that also that's what makes that game so beautiful, right? It's
and there's not
your
what other
experience
games are
was
like
very
this.
different.
What games have delivered? I mean, Dragon Age Inquisition, I guess, comes close, but even that felt like not enough for me. I know we've got some fans of that out there, but what other game delivers that? What other game delivers that? Decisions matter. Actually.
I mean, honestly, without ragging on it too much, is the cyberpunk experience is supposed to be that way, right? Like there are so an example, you start the game off, and up to the point where the game actually kicks off, there's a moment where the game actually kicks off where a big plot point happens, a specific mission happens. There's tons of mini missions you can do between that first 5 hour like run or whatever, 4 hour run, 3 hour run, whatever. And you can go and just do the story straight up, or you can start doing some of those side missions. And if you do those side missions before you do that one part, things change. Certain characters are friends with you beforehand or after the fact.
So
and
here's a massive game, big scope, right? I know there's a lot of complaints around this game for different reasons. So here's one, right? That's a more modern one. Fear of missing out. That's when it comes to making the wrong decision. A lot of games give you that sort of analysis paralysis for sure. I will say that, like, I think I got like halfway through my second run, right? I sort of play the kind of middling character, not full Paragon, not full Renegade. Through my second run of Mass Effect, I said, you know what? I'm going to restart this. I'm going to play 100% Renegade. And the game the whole storyline changes so immensely that fear of missing out, once you sort of dedicate yourself to
the character, like how are you going to play
to the character, now you're more intrigued by what happens when you make these decisions. And it just becomes like ridiculously good. So I'm Larian Studios does a good job with this.
I didn't even realize that they were the ones doing this. Oh, wow.
That's good stuff.
Wow.
That's good stuff. Yeah, all right. Yeah, there you go. So it all comes around again. Divinity Original Sin 2 had some huge decision points, so Pergamene jumps in.
Yeah, and Larian Studios is in charge of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yep. Oh, so Baldur's Gate 3, see, now we're going back to deep role-playing games, right?
Right, but that goes to show that they've got a pedigree to that kind of stuff, so they won't ignore those aspects. Yeah,
I'm excited for it. I mean, like I mentioned it on the Facebook, I still sometimes remember that scene in part 3 where my shepherd shot Morden in the elevator to stop him from curing the genophage, right? Because like my character had decided that this was the right choice at the time. I still think about that because you spent the first 2 games making just a powerful friendship with Morden, right? And then at the very third, you make that choice. And I still think about that game. I mean, I had to put down the controller, right? Here's a gaming experience that forced me to be like, holy cow, I can't believe I made that choice. Because it was a game. Who cares, right? It's a game.
Yeah, but again, that's why we love this art, right?
You can reload to the last start point and choose a different choice, right? You can sort of get away with this stuff. But this game really pushed me. It really pushed for me what games like that should deliver. And often, they don't come up. With the choices mattering.
Yeah, I mean, Fable was always trying to do that, right? That was the
Fable predates some of the Mass Effects, though, right? It's somewhere in the mix.
Oh yeah, definitely. The first Fable definitely predates all of those, but that was Peter Molyneux's like vision, right? The idea of like every choice matters, everything you do matters.
And there's a series that was like, whoosh, right? Like it like.
Yeah, well, that's all because Microsoft left it all on the shoulders of Peter Molyneux, right? Like he was like, "Oh, this is your baby. You do what you want," and he was like, "Yay!" And then like,
it went out of control. Yeah, it's the choice between Tali and Legion. Yes, those. Oh my God, so many. I'm looking forward to playing it again. To do those choices again, to like enjoy those big story moments again. So I'm gonna go chase that high again come May. Right, I'm really excited for that. Such an intense sequence in Mass Effect 3. After having built to it for so long in the first 2 Mass Effects, which I don't know, it's such a great job over the course of that trilogy to get you to those moments. I know a lot of folks hated the ending, right? A lot of controversy regarding the Mass Effect 3 ending, but I don't know, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to play it for the first time in a way, right? Like I know so much about this game, but I know it's one of those games that I felt like once 3 came out, it was so far out there. It's not that I couldn't, but I was always waiting for like a re-release or a remaster because I was like, hey, let's give me better versions of that part 1 again, and we didn't get it last gen. I thought that was interesting that they took so long. So
yeah, so Dan, I mean, I feel like it's vaporware at this point, right? Wasn't there just all right? So yeah, Pergamene says it. It was just a cinematic trailer, but we haven't seen much more from that.
No
right?
date, no real like concept of game. We're gonna get it, but it's no longer like it's just it's fabled by franchise name alone. It's no longer the original creator, which that feel like happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a Duke Nukem, man. Everyone waited for so long for it, and it just failed to deliver on so many fronts, right?
We get that so much with so many games, right?
Yeah, because you wait for so long for it. It's just you can't help but not. I mean, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they deliver with the new engines.
So let's do a quick weird turnaround here. Last week we talked a little bit about Capcom, Resident Evil. You know the new Resident Evil.
Talk about massive game franchises.
Massive game franchises, yeah. And we had the release of the demo for PS5, and it's coming out for multiple systems, of course. And of course, the one thing that happened in that the demo is everyone fell in love with one of the characters or the villain. Like for the first time, you're getting this like lady vampire. Oh God, I don't know how to say her name. It's Lady.
Just say it, dude. There's no. Just make a guess. Say it like it's spelled.
Dimitrescu?
Dimitrescu, like Patricia, maybe? Dimitrescu?
No, it's Dimitrescu.
You know what? Nobody cares. On to the 9-foot-tall woman.
Just 9-foot-tall woman. So, yes, that's exactly right. Thank you, Kendo. So, Capcom came out and kind of was like, hey, we noticed that you guys are like fans. So, by the way, here's how tall she is. I'm waiting for a blood type and
that's what I'm saying, right? Like the classic traditional information should come for the.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the blood type and like her likes and dislikes at some point, for like dating sims. Just jeez. So yeah, she is 9'6" or 2.9 meters for everyone else in the world.
Yeah, 9 point. That's really tall. I'm both upset and glad someone's been reading my dream journal. Yeah. Just give me a 9-foot-tall vampire. That's what I want. Yeah, vampire woman.
I sent this message on. I sent this meme to Cautious during the week, but I thought it was hilarious that someone had zoomed in on like her cleavage, texture. The bosom ever, and the texture of the skin was like eerily creepy. It was like. Some artists
it's like they hired the staff from Rockstar.
They were like the testicles for the horses, same thing.
That's the kind of talent we want on our Resident Evil game. Let's bring them over. So.
Oh man, it's absolutely interesting. This the whole concept of this has been interesting, and I'm sure if I scroll down, there's all sorts of
don't scroll down to page 2. You're out of your mind. So I what I love about this is the way the internet. I mean, the internet's clearly a tool for a real conduit for bad stuff, but like. The community that has cropped up immediately around these like separate images of this vampire woman has been intense. Like she's got a fan base. Yes, she's got a fan base, and all we've seen is the trailers and the demo. Right? There isn't much more than that.
No, we don't. Ooh, no, for 2B from Nier Automata, all that shit. No, that's bad fan art. It's like 98% very not good fan art and
it's like Google search page 4 search on please. Like, save me. My eyes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
That's So looks good. Actually, you know what? I haven't played a Resident Evil in so long. This 9'6" tall woman might make me. There's even cosplays already out, right?
Oh,
there's
yeah.
Cosplays rocking it out now. My God! It's just a
loop. Oh man!
Talk about a Mid-Geek crisis.
Holy cow. For sure.
That's good stuff. Don't. I'm looking. So like we got the screen of what he's looking for off screen, and yeah, we got it. Yeah, that's. He got meters off to the side, and it's beautiful. It really is, Kendall. You're totally right. Gorgeous. It's going to deliver. I look forward to like the horror aspect. Right, we're so attracted to it. I'm sure. I'm sure we're going to find out some things about ourselves we didn't know was there.
So, at the end of last episode, we talked about stocks. We talked about GameStop, and it's been going on still. I mean, it's over a week since all this mess started. The stock is still not back down to the tank. It is going bust. It is starting to go down. It is at $100.
It's at 90. It closed at 90 today.
Yeah, so it's under 100. But so what did you find out about all of this in the week since? I feel like I'm still kind of lost on how it all worked out.
Oh, I mean, do you want a real explanation on why?
I mean, everyone's kind of given one, but I feel like maybe you have a pretty good one.
The simple story here is GameStop stocks were basically shorts are bets on the value dropping, right? So these hedge funds said GameStop will drop in price, so we are going to borrow people's stocks. So basically, like I borrow your systems and games, and I sell them to other people, right? Because the price will drop. When the price drops, I buy them at that cheap price and pocket the difference, right? Because I'm returning to you your games, and I pocket the difference. The trick here, and the reason why Wall Street Bets called it out as an excellent choice, is folks borrowed that same stock 2 or 3 times. So I would borrow the game from you and then sell it, and then that person that I sold it to would then lend it out again back to me to sell to someone else. So it was over leveraged at 120, 130, 140%. And when that happens, the way hedge funds can lose money is paying on the interest. Because when I borrow from you, I'm paying you the interest, right? You loaned it to me, so there's an interest payment involved. And eventually you can say, hey, I want my game back. And so when you say I want my game back, I have to go buy it and return it to you. By law, no matter what the price is, I have to return it. So the Wall Street Bets folks said, yeah, exactly. So the Wall Street Bets folks said, buy at 350, get it up to 1,000. These hedge funds are going out of business. The part that I don't quite get, and where I don't think I will ever understand fully the stock market, is it's not like it's a physical product, right? This is just like the stock went up to 1,000, the stock went down to 90. Billions of dollars was made and lost in a day, and I'm like, but
well, I mean, right? The memes all said it, right? It was like money is not real. Like at this point, it's like this really just kind of showed the idea that money is a state of mind at this point when it comes down to this kind of
the
thing.
Stock market is a casino. That's really what it exposes.
But it's not even like it's like a virtual casino. It's like playing on your iPhone. You're just sitting there going, oh yeah, I made this much. Unless you cash out is when it becomes tangible. But if you don't cash out, it's just this virtual currency.
Well, gamers knew the hedge funds did it. GameStop never trades at fair value.
I know, right? Like, that's totally the truth.
People tried to seize the memes of production. There's like stocks are a mood ring for the rich, right? So like there's all sorts of things going on there. What I find really interesting is that, I mean, do you go to the Reddit thread for Wall Street Bets? Do you read?
No. I mean, that's out of my. Like, I mean, I would have at this point now, but I'm like, what's going on in there? But
it's like a weird. It's a yeah. There's the spite, right? So Kendall calls it spite is powering people. People are posting their losses, dude, and some people have lost like tens of thousands of dollars, right? They bought the stock when it was cheap. It rose up and they didn't sell. They held on to it because they're holding on to it out of spite. Also, I think they're hoping that the squeeze will happen, and this is when the price will jump up as all those writers come due. That subreddit sucks. Like you got to wear a suit and like a mask, but you can go in there.
I commonly swim within the 4chan to read awful things too. I mean, like we know, like I was born in the darkness. I don't know what you're talking about. Like I don't know what you're talking about. Like I know chat rooms. 4chan was like I've been on 4chan. Like I'm practically I'm 10 plus years in it.
The hardest part for these threads is it's hard for me not to want to join in.
Right.
Like that's where I got to wear the protective suit because I'm like.
I mean, I've got extensions installed on my browser for 4chan to clean it up a bit. Like, no joke. Like, I seriously have.
You gotta keep your sanity somehow.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that the stimulus payments are what allowed most of this. This is the claim, right? Everyone had extra money and said, you know what?
Why not? I really, it exposed a lot of the system. I'm hoping the outrage to me was there was a lot of protections to these hedge funds that happened. A good example, like
duh, right?
Well, I mean, us poor people knew that. We all have known this, but once it finally gets shot into light, it causes politicians. Like, I mean, you had AOC, Alexandra, and Ted Cruz on the same page for the first time in like forever.
So, yes, I mean, like, I don't know. It's just, I'm like, are we surprised that Capital does this? Capital does this. Capital has sent people with bats to beat up strikes. Yeah, it's capitalism. It's killing us all. You can't put out a fire from inside the house, right? So that's why these folks thought they could beat Wall Street at their own game. That's a really hard thing to do without billions of dollars, right?
Right, so, but it did sure as heck put a nice big old chunk of ding on that armor that it had.
More importantly, I think it got hopefully some folks, and maybe a politician or two will follow through on this. It really exposes how much it's rigged and how much people are just making money without any effort. Like it should be.
It doesn't cost anybody anything. They're not losing anything out. Like, well, I lost virtual bucks. Woo.
So you know what short sellers are all about? They'll buy and they want to push that stock. So they want to devalue the companies that they're shorting down to zero. So all of it's profit for them. So they're bad. They're supposed to be like a money-making machine, but a lot of them game that system to lower the price down to zero, so all they do is pocket the profit without any benefit to the company they're supposedly investing in. So, yeah. Well, no disrespect to those four people, but they're all a little populist, right? So they're all a bit they approach it a different way, but they all have some populist
sure. You know? Sure, absolutely. But yeah, again, Pergmin says it the best. The Robinhood thing was real shady. Like, that was one of those things where, like, hey, I mean, honestly, once you find out what the company's backed, right? It's backed by companies like these hedge funds to protect them, right? It's supposed to be like, oh, it's free trading, but it's only supposed to be for them. Like, it's, and then
do you know how they pay for that free trading? Do you understand how Robinhood is free? So, Robinhood, a millisecond before you make your purchase on Robinhood, they sell that data to actual stock market brokers. Hey, look, Joe wants to buy GameStop stock.
Oh,
those stockbrokers see you want to buy it. They buy it before you do, milliseconds before you finish your completion of the thing, and make a penny profit on you. And then they split that penny with Robinhood. Right? So look how rigged it is, man.
That's shady. That's like what's the best way to put this in the gamer sense? That would be like
that's lag. They've taken advantage of your lag.
Yes, that's exactly. It's ping time. At this point, it's literally ping time. It's like playing a game, or it would be like back in the day when people used to cheat on MMORPGs. They would install bots or something to read the packets before they got to you, so they knew when things were going to drop. Like, oh, so and so is going to drop, or this is going to drop right now. Because they were reading those packets. That's exactly what's happening at that point. They're sending off the purchase.
These freaking Wall Street aimbots, right? They're tearing you up. It's sniping on eBay. That is exactly. It's delayed
netcode. That's exactly it, man.
It's garbage.
So don't tell me that gamers took advantage. You guys have been taking advantage of everyone like a game. Gamers played the game is what they did.
Right. That's the dangerous thing. These gamers played the game. And yeah, most of them are like awful Wall Street wannabes and it's terrible. But yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
My Becker Coke getting 360. Oh, I see you've played Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well. Oh, it's funny if it didn't make me cry so much.
That's
right?
so good. It's bravo, sir. Bravo. So yeah, so Game Stonks is still sort of alive, but I think people are waiting now. They know they've harnessed this machine. This machine is active. So now they're setting their sights to other. What's the next one they can?
They're still pushing Game Stonks, dude. It's weird. Like it's a weird. It's got like almost.
I mean, you've seen it. Yeah, you're like going like this, up and down all day. Like I've never seen a stock.
Today it's just been like flat down. Yeah. So yeah, with the Panachiro, take your inspiration card, good sir. Absolutely.
Bravo.
That makes me sad.
It ended at, would you say 90?
It ended at 90 today. It was at like 270 at the start of the day, so it dropped. It's wild. Biggest thing I learned from last week, I'm subscribing to Reddit's Wall Street thread. I think the Discord is where you need to be, Rolls, if you actually want their tips, right? It's usually delayed, right? They're going to post it on Reddit as soon after.
But by 1 millisecond.
By 1 millisecond. Because they are capitalists too,
They're
right?
capitalists. I find it the irony, the freaking irony that their name is Robin Hood, and they're funded by that's like Sheriff of Nottingham giving him money like on the back end there. It's like every time you rob from the rich.
How many times do we have to discover that nothing free is free?
You know what? Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Oh wait, what? I'm losing at this deal. How could it possibly be? So yeah.
Oh man! Wow. Well, let's shift topics to other big companies that make lots of money off the backs of small little children.
Why do we talk about? We gotta have like an indie segment, man. We gotta do like a 25-minute indie segment.
Well, I mean, we could talk about
maybe shitting on cities was our indie segment. That would have given our best material.
A little bit. So Fortnite yet again adds another character. I know this seems like a weird thing to add, but I mean, like at this point, who's in part of this game? We talked a little bit about this in our personal chat here. Fortnite is kind of like Smash for shooters, right? Like I think at this point, it's like everyone wants their character in Fortnite, in some way, shape, or form. I mean, can we think back to what's been released? We've got NFL players.
Yep, that was the first major one that we were like, what?
NFL players, and then we had like characters from Stranger Things, characters from Star Wars. We've got Batman, we've got Robin, we've got Catwoman, Joker. We've got Thor.
Marvel releases Thanos mixes. The Mandalorian now is in that. The Fortnite community is way less toxic.
Yes, it is.
This is true.
This is very true. So, like, we've got everybody now. So, it's a crossover game. So, in one single game, you can have someone wearing a Snake Eyes, Thor, Deadpool, Batman, Luke Skywalker, and freaking Jason, and the Terminator, all in one.
And nowhere would you actually have a Fortnite character. Right. Which is like,
I mean, you can. I mean, you can if you want to, but I mean, some of these popular skins are.
Don't forget Travis Scott.
And Travis Scott, I know, right?
Travis Scott and Banana, yeah, they're some of our greatest Fortnite hits.
That's Mr. Peel or Agent Peel, depending on what version of the skin you've got on.
It's amazing to me that the Fortnite character skin set has essentially become our toy boxes from our youth when we were like 10 or 11, right? Like when we used to take our He-Man and have them fight our G.I. Joes and the Star Wars figures, right? And they would ride around them. They would all be mixed in this great abominable.
Yeah, I take my Ninja Turtles and they'd be playing with, my freaking He-Man figures. And
you have the amazing Ninja Turtle Transformer crossover, right? You just blow people's minds.
Optimus Prime is all of a sudden fighting freaking Skeletor. I mean, come on.
Yep, recruited by G.I. Joe. No, totally, because Cobra is stealing the energy cells or whatever the heck it was.
Yeah, right? The Energon. Absolutely, man.
That's it.
That's right. It's like, it's amazing, but we play with that with physical toys, and my kids do it all the time. Like, they have got tons of stuff.
Of course, they're
Legos. They're kids. But, I mean, Fortnite, I mean, we hear all the bad of the game, and it's like, oh, it's a terrible game, whatever, it's breaking it. But, I mean, like, look at this, man. Like, they're giving you this toy box. Yes, it costs money, but so did the figures when you bought them at the store. So, like, it's pretty cool.
But as a physical media guy, come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get it. I mean, yes, I understand that. The physical, I mean, I would love for companies to give you some sort of, like, mailer or something, right? Like, every time you bought a skin, they send you, like, a physical trading card.
Or buy, like, 20 skins, like the old Sergeant Slaughter for G.I. Joe, right? You just need a couple of backboards and send them into Hasbro, and you got to...
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I think everything will evolve, and we're going to eventually come back to the realization that we're not getting anything out of all of this. It's all in the cloud. I do appreciate the fact that a game like...
You think that realization will come right after the apocalypse or in the middle of the apocalypse?
Right in the middle of the apocalypse.
In the middle of the apocalypse. Okay.
That's the only way. I mean, it's going to be that moment...
I've got nothing to play with because all my media was digital. What did I do? Pedro!
Mushroom cloud. No, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I
cool.
enjoy it.
Do kids know who Snake Eyes is? Is there like a GI Joe?
No, that's the thing. They don't. So that's directly aimed at us, right?
Did you buy the skin?
No, I haven't. No, I did not.
I used to fight with my brother for Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. They were the most highly desirable GI Joes in our house.
The
two
ninjas,
the
ninjas in the 80s being popular. You don't say, sir. God. Sidestep to that. Do you remember the movies American Ninja? American Ninja 1, 2, and 3.
They had like color coded ninjas, right? I feel like I barely remember.
Well, they do have a few. The ninjas were bioengineered. The American guy named Joe was his name. He was the Marine guy, and he
starting to bring back.
Yeah,
I think it's conflated with a lot of '80s ninjas movies.
What was it? They found him. He had amnesia, and he hit his head, and he forgot all his training. But then it all came back, and you know.
No disrespect to Adam, Duke were mine. Pergamene, Duke, the blonde hair.
The blonde hair, blue eyed guy. Absolutely.
That's cheap shots. Are we punching up or down with that? That's not nice. But yeah, Duke.
Michael Dudikoff. There you go. You got it. Yes, that's his Michael Dudikoff. That's American Ninja, right there. Man, that's one of my favorite '80s movies. I rewatched part 1 about a year and a half ago. It's really bad. Like it hasn't aged well. But I mean, honestly. None of them ever do.
Called American Ninja hasn't aged well,
yeah, right? But there's this hilarious part in the movie that I laugh at every time. And next time you guys, if you see it on TV or whatever, you should watch this scene. There's a scene where he's escaping from the military base, right? He's stolen a Jeep and he's driving it, and another 2 officers or whatever show up and try to like run him off the road with the Jeep. So it's 2 like old Jeeps just kind of on this like Hawaiian road or whatever, and he pushes the one Jeep off the road, and the other Jeep just goes into the grass. And there's like this little thin tree in the middle of the field. It hits it, and it just goes boosh, like the biggest explosion. I'm just like,
I feel like I've seen this GIF.
Right? Oh, I'm sure it's out there all the time. It makes me laugh so much. Like 80s, everything had to be an explosion, but they couldn't get the Jeep to actually like really crush into it because it's a military Jeep. They were meant to take a beating, so it literally hits the tree and just stops, and then it goes boom. It's just like there's a delay, and like what exploded there? It's like it was like a Ford Pinto.
Yeah, it's the American craftsmanship for vehicles, right?
Yeah.
Gives you a second to get out of there. I'll be honest, if you give me a G.I. Joe name and an American Gladiator name, I think I'd flip a coin. Yes, you would also be old, right? Those are 2 references that I absolutely adore, right? Is it Laser or Roadblock? I think those both might be American Gladiator names, right?
they probably were both, and they were both
G.I. Joe names.
G.I. Joe names. Oh, man. Let's talk about the big story today.
Wait, this is the big story?
Yeah. It's failure at its finest. I'm gonna drink some tears for a little bit. I'm gonna enjoy it.
Wait. I want to be clear here on the Mid-Geek Crisis. We don't typically open with Amazon and end with Google. I just want to make it clear we do not worship at the font of billionaire companies. So yes.
No. I would love to talk.
Goodbye, Google Stadia. Go ahead. What's your prediction?
I don't know. Goodbye. It's gonna die. It's dying. At this point, it's now become a footnote of a service, right? It's no longer. How about this? I'll take a step back. Remember at the beginning of its launch, you had all these like commercials. You had all these like interrupting commercials in between your big push. You had Reggie Watts as the spokesman and whatever, and they were like, oh, this is the kind of the future of gaming, and they had created 2 major studios within their confine of their own.
Yep.
And these 2 studios housed 150 employees, and these 150 employees were developing games specifically for the Stadia platform. Basically, they were games that just ran on the cloud and would be played, and you could only play them on Stadia.
Yeah.
Those are now dead. All the particular
those
studios.
Developers, wish luck to all those developers. About 150 were laid off, so good luck finding work. I'm sure you will. You've got Google on your resume, right? You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
But I hope it all works out. So specialization is overrated, says Alia 2.0.
At least Ouya gave me a hardware piece.
It was also an indie product, right? It was also a
like it was. It only failed because it didn't have the Google, but Google failed because Google didn't listen to the rest of the people telling them what was going on. Like if Google wanted to make a console, they could. If Google wanted to say, "Hey, by the way, here's our new Chromecast gaming edition with a controller. By the way, here's this piece of hardware. It runs 4K. It does this. It runs our Android operating system."
It might have done a little better.
It might have done a little better, but it didn't. They didn't do that, and that's what everyone thought it was at first, right? Yeah. When Stadia was announced, they were like, "Oh crap! Google's throwing their hat in the ring with a console." They've got Android. They've got the network backbone.
They basically already have a bunch of consoles out there.
They've got everything. They've got everything they needed, but that's what they did, right? The downside was they backed the fact that they already had an infrastructure that was Android. But by the way, none of your Android phones could really do Stadia well.
Yeah. Yeah. Adam jumps in. I love how Google is like, you should back our platform. Then they don't back their own platform.
Right. Yep. So now that, Stadia isn't dead. What it is now is it's exactly what everyone else already does, which is like, hey, we are now a service that you can port to and people can play your game online streaming without owning a specific console.
So yeah, so what does Stadia do? Stadia plays Cyberpunk, right? Like it doesn't. It's not very exciting, but for the folks who use it, good for them. I guess is the way to go. It's also a sign that like it's not an easy industry to break into, right?
No. Like, you have to. We talk about this a lot about the ecosystem and how. Systems have died. We talk about like once a year we talk about Dreamcast because we remember its launch date of 99 or whatever. But that's a company that lost it, and they lost their footing. They exited the market, and it would be very hard for Sega to come back in. Yep. As much as we would like it, here's a company like Atari that was like, hey, they put their money where their mouth was and released a console. But you can't release a console expecting to be a console and not play other games, right?
But that wasn't Atari that released a console. It was someone who bought Atari's brand name to release it, right?
Or like, Intellivision. Intellivision is trying to do it their way by going, hey, we own the name. We're making a system. We're going to have exclusive games that you could only play on our system. But here we are, still hasn't launched. Right.
Steam put out their box, right? There's a Steam box out there. Did I dream that? Did I dream a Steam box?
Well, no, they had a Steam box. It was the Steam Link, right? It was and then they also had partnered with Alienware for a while, and they had those small Alienware
really
PCs.
Expensive.
Yeah, those i3. They were i3, i5 systems that you'd plug in, and they were TV. Get a Steam controller and off to the races.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, so I don't know. No big loss for me, but for the folks who are big fans of Stadia, I'm sure you were looking forward to it.
Well, I don't think they've lost anything, right? That's the downside here is...
Exactly right. It came and went.
It came and went. It's still around. It will still be around. The people that are using it just to play other people's games. The problem is now that Google has pulled out studios and their own money... Like they've uninvested time into it now. The time that they were investing was by actually putting their own employees within it. Now it's just a service like anything else. It's Gmail for games. It's like it runs. It's part of the Google, but it's no different than it's practically a plugin for their like.
I'm old enough to remember when you needed a special invite to use Gmail. All right, Joe, come on.
I remember that. Yeah, no, so Stadia, we hardly knew ye because you were never really out. And so now here you are.
Failure to launch, I think, is what's happening.
Failure to launch.
Yeah, failure to launch. So,
Dan, no, there was the Steam Link, and the Steam Link was a singular box.
Just TV streaming from your PC. Specialization is overrated. Still has a Steam machine. There was an Alienware Alpha which had specific software.
Right, and that's exactly it. So here was the Steam Link, and then you're right. There was the Alienware Alpha, and the Alpha was the specific. It was a specific PC running a Steam OS. It was this bad boy right here. It was the first Steam machine.
I remember that. Yeah. Because I remember the pictures and thinking, wow, that looks like a mock-up, but it was.
No, it was a cute little like console. It was a PC. I mean, essentially, if we go back to these specific links here, you could buy it. It runs Windows and it runs SteamOS, and it had you bought it with a
normal 360 controller,
or you could buy it with their Steam controller.
A different time.
But yeah.
It's still a pretty good little HTPC.
It is. It's a great. I mean, it's an i3, right? Like it still runs Windows. It's about as powerful as a Atari PCS.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So Steam tried it. They tried this. They tried to cross over to the console wars, knowing that they already had people with PCs, and it didn't go well.
Those people didn't move over because they were like, "I've got a PC. Why would I?" So, speaking of games, what are you playing? What's on your docket? I don't know if Chance joined us, but welcome Chance for jumping on to 52 and 52.
Yeah.
If anyone else is beating games, I love all the conversations. Folks are putting up games they're beating. Pergamene, I want to put a shout out to you. My daughter and I just started Donut County 2 or 3 days ago based on your recommendation, and she is cracking up, sucking things up into that hole. She is having a blast. So thanks for that recommendation. We are having a lot of daddy-daughter time rocking out on that game.
I love it. I love the concept. I think it's funny. I think it's the jokes are pretty hilarious.
She's loving it. It's sucking up a car. And we just got to the level where there's a highway of cars, and I was like, okay, game time's over. She was like, no, you can't do this to me. I'm about to do a highway. I'm like, yeah, it'll be better tomorrow when you get to play, right?
The puzzle aspects of the game are finding what you have to swallow to make yourself bigger, or or like when you get the catapult launcher.
Yeah, watching her try to solve these puzzles, and it's really fun, like being like, hey, what do you think you need to do with that egg? What do you think you need to do with that water balloon? And she eventually figures out. It's a real, it's got a good learning curve. Highly recommended it. It's on the Xbox Pass.
I need to buy the T-shirt that says, what does it say?
Garbage Day?
Yeah. Have a garbage day. In the very nice font. I think they sell it. That's one of their T-shirts they have. I've seen it at PAX, and I always, I didn't pick it up. So I thought that was pretty fun. I finished Doom. I posted that over the weekend. I mean, I was gonna go through it, and I stayed up till like 3 o'clock in the morning that day. It was Friday, right after D&D. I just jumped right into.
Jesus, Doom. You went straight from D&D to
straight to D&D to Doom. And so I was hurting for it the next day because I had worked that day, so I was in this chair at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I got up at 5, had dinner, and then came back here to sit down for D&D, and then I sat in the same chair.
A hardcore geek life, man. Earn the money to play the games, to play more games, and then go back to play more games. Well done.
Yeah, so...
But you bring out every minute of your weekend.
Every minute of my weekend, man. So 4 a.m. I finished Doom Eternal, and that was a ride. That was a ride, sir. I mean, I had my headphones on, I was cranking, it was
I assume a good ride?
It was a great ride.
Unlike Batman Enemy Within, which was a terrible.
Yes, the similar is much shorter, different sense of humor, very reminiscent. Yeah, it's a little like Katamari, and yeah, it's very reminiscent in that style. The story's funny, the characters are funny. I'm really enjoying Donut County. That'll probably be one of my lists too. I'm about halfway through it as well, because they added it to the game.
And it's pretty quick to beat. You know what I added to my list? It was a surprise to me. I just started playing it this week. Gears Tactics.
Oh, so I always wanted to know if you were ever going to play that, because it's a tactics style game, right? So it's like XCOM /
Yeah, so February might be Tactics as I go to play those old Tactics games that I haven't put up. It is really good. For the record, if you like those XCOM style Tactics games, Gears Tactics is excellent. It's got the over-the-top chainsaw madness gore levels, which is also kind of satisfying, but it's got some real tough tactical gaming. So I'm enjoying it. I'm digging it. I can't stop playing it. In fact, it's good.
So today is Groundhog's Day, and awesome. We didn't make any references to Groundhog's Day. I didn't even label the episode Groundhog's Day just because I think I'd run with that last year, but next year. But that said, it's the beginning of the month, and something I'd like to just say here.
Right. Okay.
We want to talk about the games that the games you get for free with the services, right? So new games, new service. If you
shill for Microsoft, is that
got a shill for Microsoft and PlayStation? I'm gonna do it both. So Games is Gold for this month. These are the games that are free with your Game Pass / Gold. So you get free starting February 1st. You get Resident Evil, the first one, the remaster. Dandara, which is one of my favorite indie games of about a year and a half ago.
Did you beat Dandara?
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh, I got stuck somewhere in there on a puzzle, and I said, you know what? I don't have.
That's
a real head scratcher of a game.
You got to like bounce certain ways in certain directions.
Yeah.
It's definitely timing. Gears 5, which I think is interesting that they're just giving you the game, like it's already
But
part
it's
of Game Pass.
free on the Game Pass.
But if you don't have Game Pass, they give you the permanent game. So
that's
like,
true. That's true. That's true.
Another good one that you should for everyone to hop on if you've got an Xbox One or above, of course, is Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb. That's a fun indie game, Indiana Jones game. It came out back on the original Xbox, and yeah, I liked it a lot back in the day.
I would have to.
Yeah.
Who would pay $10 for that though? How do they even quantify the value of an old Xbox game?
I mean, it's basically sits at $10, and I mean, if you want to try to find the physical copy, maybe it's $5, but the digital version is 10. So
yeah, it's $0 is what that game is worth.
It's actually a pretty good game. Like, you could try it out. You've been surprised before, but that's a better list than last month.
Yeah, no, last month was a trash month. So.
Last month was trash. So this month they're giving you some pretty good ones. And PlayStation. The games for PlayStation Plus are Control Ultimate Edition.
What?
Yeah, for free.
An excellent game for free.
Yeah. Destruction All-Star, which is an exclusive PS5 launch title game that was delayed, and they decided to, since it was delayed, they refunded anyone who paid $70 for it and just gave it to them this month.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
And then Concrete Genie, which is a phenomenal game. It's a regular, and you can play it with PSVR. I thought it was really cool looking game.
Did you already play it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I picked it up. It's like a...
Oh, right, because these are old releases that they're re-releasing. I got it.
Good story, good animation, good art style. It plays really well with VR as well.
Oh, cool. So you got graffiti moving around, it looks like?
Yeah. But again, these are three excellent games, and they're free, so pick them up on PlayStation.
Awesome.
So yeah, those are
Sony, Microsoft, reach out. You know, we got some fans who want to be advertised to, I'm sure. So
yeah, of course. And Switch Online, Tetris and Mario 35 are still free right now until the end of March, I guess.
That's
we don't know
that's
what's going to happen.
The right price for those two games. Yeah. So, so that's the show, folks.
That's the show.
Make sure
what are you playing now, though?
Gears Tactics.
So Gears Tactics will be your next big one.
I mean, I don't know if it's gonna. Donut County would probably be the one I beat this week, but I'm gonna try to. You know, I like that January was like my point and click sort of game, right? So month. So maybe I'll make this month the tactics game. So I downloaded Gears Tactics, and I've got the one with the crystal, the Dark Crystal Tactics game. I also downloaded, so maybe I'll try.
Okay. Yeah. I heard good things about that.
I'm still looking through Valhalla and Doom Eternal this week.
Yes, solid games. I am my next games. I just finally installed Hades. I had purchased it, and
nice.
I was gonna sit down. So all the hype and whatnot. So I'm gonna.
That's it. You're doomed.
Yeah,
you're gonna do a roguelike for one of your 52s. Love it.
It'll be one that maybe I'll beat, but if I get to the end credits by the end of February, it'll be a good one.
Text me after a 72-hour binge, man. Once you get a rogue game steaming, you are done for.
I mean, it happened with me with Dead Cells, right?
I know.
I was like, ooh. Yeah, snatch those PS5 games with the PS app. If you don't have a PS5, yes, hop on with the PS app and then pick them up and then add them to your library.
There you go. Thanks for jumping on, Rio. Hades is everyone I've talked to have said it. I own a Switch and I haven't picked it up yet because I am terrified of what it will do to my limited. I'm
a quick plug. If you guys aren't, there's a lot of individuals here on the channel that like this kind of stuff. If you've ever watched, there's a great channel called NoClip. It's it is a wonderful video documentary channel. They're kind of funded by the fans, and they have done a multi-year follow with the studio with Supergiant on this. And so essentially, if you go here, they've got a full Hades, the development hell process, and the oldest video is 2 years ago. Like,
wow!
When they announced it at the Game Awards, launching it. Patching it, the final updates, and then basically how 6 months of Hades kind of like went through.
Thanks for jumping on for me.
So yes, NoClip for sure. Go hop on. They've got all sorts of good ones. Best of NoClip documentaries on Half-Life, on the story of Rocket League. if you just want to sit down.
This is how you get your deep lore, your deep.
Yeah, and the 30-minute to hour and 45-minute documentary on Half-Life, but these are
way too long.
Way too long. But yeah, if you want a deep dive, I mean, instead of pulling up that serial murder,
big fan of Hades, go out there and check out how it was made. Right, check out how the sausage is made. That's awesome.
Yeah, the sausage is made. Like, subscribe, share. Oh, I think I've got some animations for that kind of stuff, don't I now? Yes, like and share.
Yeah, I know. I think Rio subscribed like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, thank you, Rio.
Thanks for jumping on, Rio. Thanks, everybody, to subscribe. Follow us on the Facebooks, especially. That's where we do a lot of our chatting and video game sharing and trash talking. Always fun.
Uncle Bernie's been playing producer this episode. He's in the backstage, looking at me disapprovingly.
It's a shame this didn't happen around Halloween because I think I have that outfit. Like
I'm pretty sure you have that outfit. I'm almost 100% sure you have that outfit. I think he went into your closet and took that outfit. I'm just going to put that out there.
Right, because socialism, right?
Yeah, he's like, you bought this mouth. I love you. Episode 112 is in the can, folks. Take care. Have a good week.
Be kind.